He's Todd Zolecki. Hello, Zo. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing, man?
Fantastic. How are things down there?
Things are great. High 60s today. Sun's out. You know, it could be worse.
Beautiful. There's nothing better than spring training baseball when you get to the park and you get that spring training smell and you watch a ball game. So what are you seeing so far? I know the issues aren't plentiful, but what kind of issues are you seeing with this team?
Well, I think really the only major issue right now, and I guess it kind of says the Phillies are pretty well set, is what are they going to do at the end of the bench? You know, Weston Wilson was probably going to make the team as the last guy on the bench, the right-handed hitting, because he's a right-handed hitter to play corner outfield. To give Max Kepler a break against a tough lefty, but West is going to start the season on the injury list with the oblique, so there's a little bench situation going on. Not only with the backup catcher between Rafael Marchand and Garrett Stubbs, but now that Weston Wilson is out, you've got Edmundo Sosa dipping his toe into the center field, left field waters. To me, that says they're serious, A, about him playing in the outfield, and B, that they're at least thinking about possibly starting Johan Rojas in AAA to start the season, because if Sosa can play competent center field, that might open up a spot on the bench for somebody like Cody Clemens, or it gives them a little bit more flexibility. So that's really the big issue right now. But man, Mike, the first few games, I've seen some pretty good pitching. And perhaps the biggest surprise of all, it's Taijuan Walker actually threw the ball well yesterday, which is interesting only in that, where does that leave him at the end of the season? Does he make the team as the last man in the bullpen? Does he pitch so well that teams start calling about Taijuan Walker and maybe take him off their hands and take on some of his salary as a result? So that'll be something interesting to watch over the next few weeks.
It really is interesting that they could actually salvage his career, because they really, when you look at it, they don't have a long man. Somebody who could come in maybe the fourth inning if they need, or the fifth, right?
Yeah. So he would be that guy, and I still think he's probably going to be that guy, but I think a lot of people, and understandably so, I mean, he was not good last year. We talked to him yesterday after he pitched in Dunedin and said it was just a really, really bad year, and it was. I think he was 3-7, 7.1 ERA. He lost his job in the rotation, didn't make the postseason roster. Again, understandably so, and there's a lot of skepticism about him in the offseason, because they feel like, oh no, he's working out really hard in Arizona. He's doing he's throwing these weighted balls around, trying to get his velo back up. And you're like, all right, let's see what happens actually when the first game comes out. And his fastball yesterday, I think it averaged 92.9, and in his first outing last spring, it was 89. So, he threw his top pitch yesterday was 93.9. He hit that once all of last season. So, the splitter looked good. And so, again, now it becomes all right, this is interesting now.
Yeah.
Now I'm really interested in seeing what he can do the rest of the spring.
Yeah.
Because, hey, you know what? Injuries happen all the time. One of the starters goes down. Now he maybe starts the season in rotation. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the best case scenario could be he pitches well enough to get some team interested in, and they trade for him with the Phillies paying the salary, because I see him as he's like a cheap end battery. When you buy it, it's at 100%, but a couple weeks later it starts to wane. The non-Duracell batteries that they stick in your remote control when you first get it.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yes, but you're right, because there are a lot of teams that could use some starting pitching. So it's something worth monitoring. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, Taijuan Walker is back or anything, but just the fact that he pitched well yesterday is noteworthy.
Yeah. All right. So the Rojas plan, I kind of like it. I really think that he could serve himself a little well in AAA if they can pull that off. But this Kepler thing is interesting to me, Todd, because they're counting on him to be a full-time player. Are you seeing that in him right now?
I tell you what, he's really the results haven't been there, but he's really barreled up some balls hard the first few games that he's played. He's worked on his swing. With Kevin Long in the offseason, he went down to Arizona. He made some mechanical adjustments to his swing. He thinks it can allow him to pull the ball more, and also just let the ball get a little bit deeper so he can hit, barrel up some balls a little bit more. But But you're right. I think that was the big surprise for me this offseason. When they agreed to a one-year deal in December, I caught word of it, and I immediately said, what I heard was, I think the Phillies agreed on a one-year deal with an outfielder. So I immediately went to, okay, a one-year deal. So it's not Teoscar Hernandez. It's not, some of the multi-year guys that you were expecting. So I immediately went down the list, and I started looking at only right-handed hitting corner outfielders because you're like, they need a right-handed hitting corner outfielder. But he's a left-handed hitting corner outfielder. And so it is interesting. They're kind of, I don't want to say a huge gamble, but there is some risk there, I guess, in that, two things. One is that he's been okay at times hitting lefties, but not great all the time. I mean, they kind of platooned him a little bit last year in Minnesota. So that's number one is, A, can he actually hit left-handed pitching as an everyday player? Of course, he says he can. The Phillies say they believe he can. But B is, can he actually be an everyday player? Because he gets hurt. He's been hurt a lot over his career. I think he's only had more than 490 plate appearances in a season since 2019. So he spends a lot of time on the injured list. So he's going to need to, A, hit left-handed pitching, B, stay healthy, and if he ends up struggling against left-handed pitching, man, now kind of what do you do there? You hope that maybe Weston Wilson can come back, or you start maybe looking around the league and seeing if you can pick up somebody as a fourth or fifth outfielder that can provide you a little bit more balance.
Yeah, it's a big leap of faith. All right, let's look to the bullpen. Where I think maybe even three open spots here. If you look at the top four being Romano, Alvarado, Strahm, Kerkering, fill in the blanks for me to get to 8.
Okay, so you have Tanner. I would say Tanner Banks is on for sure, and I would actually say Jose Ruiz is on for sure. So that's and Joe Ross actually. The guy
that's right. I forgot about Ross. Okay,
yeah,
so
Joe
all right.
Ross.
So Banks because they have to have another left-hander who can play pitch in middle innings. And Ruiz pitched okay last year, and Ross.
And Ross. But there is some kind of uncertainty in that bullpen because they lose Hoffman, they lose Estevez, and they replaced him with Romano, who signed that one-year deal. He's coming off an injury. And they signed Joe Ross, who had a nice little stint last year after starting with the Brewers. He came into the bullpen, and he was great with the Brewers out of the bullpen, but he's only done it for like half a season. So, there is some uncertainty there. And Alvarado is trying to bounce back. He had a down year last year. So right now, if I had to pencil in that last guy, it probably would be Taijuan Walker, but again, a long way to go. But, saw some good things. Saw some really good things the other day from Alvarado. He hit 100.7 in his first Grapefruit League appearance. And I know, again, I always say this, and you know this, Mike, it's spring training, right? So take results with a grain of salt. But he came out throwing the ball really well. He was throwing strikes. And to me, an interesting little wrinkle that he's added this spring is that he threw 2 curveballs. He threw 3 all of last season. He threw none in 2023. So I went up to him just yesterday in the clubhouse, and I said, "You threw 2 curveballs in your first appearance." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you going to throw? Is this something you're planning on doing this season?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Why?" And he started laughing at me. And I said, "No, I'm serious. Why are you going to throw the curveball?" He kind of put his finger up to his temple, and he goes, "Because I want the hitters to think. I want them to think, uh-oh, Alvy just doesn't have a cutter and sinker anymore. Now he's got a curveball. And if he can throw that pitch for strikes, 88-mile-an-hour curveball, that could be a little bit of a weapon. But he does seem really motivated to bounce back. I don't think he was happy with how he pitched last year. He came into camp in better shape. He said he worked out a lot harder in the offseason, and he also said he changed his diet. So a hungry, motivated Jose Alvarado could be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, he looked a lot slimmer. I hope he doesn't lose any power with that. But I also like the fact that he referred to himself as the third person, Alvy.
Alvy, exactly right. Exactly right.
That works for me. All right, so the Philly show with Todd Zolecki, and you got Jim Salisbury getting off his rump to do some stuff, and then Ruben Amaro Jr., Mr. Media these days. So there you go. That's a pretty good blend. Are you guys having fun with that?
Yeah, we are. We are having a lot of fun with it. We've had some cool guests on. Just the past couple weeks, we had Zach Wheeler, Nola, JT, Realmuto came on, Rob Thompson came on. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun. Like they're great guys. It's good to have. Jim's one of the best baseball writers ever in Philly, and and Ruben obviously has literally done everything in baseball. So it's fun that they're letting me tag along and join in with them.
You know what's funny? I got to mention this thing because I was talking about this the other day on the radio on how cutthroat baseball reporters used to be back in the day. You guys all get along, and you're friendly, and all. You remember the days when you started, and how the competition was. You wouldn't you would snarl at the next guy and like get a scoop ahead of him, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. In fact, I remember when I first got on the beat for the Inquirer in 2003, there was, like, literally some of the other beat writers at some of the other papers were kind of in cahoots. They would kind of, like, try to distract me, and, like, they would go over and they would, just try to beat the Inquirer. They would kind of get together, join forces, and try to beat us and stuff. It was crazy, like misdirection and all that stuff. It was so absurd. But, yeah, now we definitely get along a lot better. It's still competitive, but it's not like, I hate you and I wish ill upon you like it was back in the day.
When I was at the Inquirer, a guy got hit in the head with a beer can because he helped an Inquirer writer. I mean, remember that story? I don't know if you remember that story. That was before your time.
Oh yeah, no. There's so many of those moments over the years. Yeah, I mean, like like I said, guys like sharing quotes to try to I'll pass it along, and you help me to screw the Inquirer over.
Yeah, Todd, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for your time. Is there a ball game today? You got to see.
They're actually off today. They're home tomorrow against the Yankees, and it's Wheeler and Ranger Suarez are both.
Nice. What do you do on your off day? What do you do? Just hang out in the sun?
I'm actually just going to do errands. I'm not. People are like, "You going to the beach?" I'm like, by myself? No, thanks. I'm going to be just walking around. I'll walk around, get a nice dinner. That's about it.
Very nice, Todd. Thank you. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
There he is, Todd Zolecki.
Todd Zolecki. So I was reading something he wrote today on MLB where they go through, they predict all the opening rosters for every team and all that, and Zolecki's obviously the guy, I guess, tied in with the Phillies. So interesting, he writes, everybody thinks the Dodgers have the best rotation in baseball, but the Phillies will try to make the argument they are better. It's a formidable top five with Andrew Painter possibly joining by the summer.
Yeah, I see. We'll talk about that in a second, but I don't know about that. I think that he might be better suited for the pen. We'll talk about it. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos. It's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.